All right, everybody, welcome back to Behind the Lens. This is your boy Zoe, and you are tuned into WDRBmedia, the voice of the community. So I am here with my brother, my friend, Mr. CammWess. What's going on, man?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be talking with you. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Glad to have you, man. I'm doing great, man.
Good,
Doing
man.
great.
Good.
Looks like you in the
Oh
studio.
yeah. Oh yeah. You've been here plenty of times. We try to live here if we can.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Working on some new magic.
Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. Working on a lot of new R&B.
Okay, that's what's
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah.
for those of you that are tuning in that don't know, CammWess is from Columbia, South Carolina, and he was on what was it, the 18th? If I'm not
18 season.
yeah, the 18th season of The Voice,
Hmm.
and you won fourth place, right? Yeah, fourth place.
Number four out of 45,000 people that auditioned that season, man. Number
Man.
four.
So
Yeah.
what did that feel like? Just that whole process.
I mean, it definitely was fulfilling and surreal and kind of dreamlike all wrapped up into one for a couple different reasons. I was definitely the kid that was watching that stuff. Idol, X Factor, Voice. I wanted to see all the seasons. I wanted to see all the contestants. And I could also see myself on those stages. And then to have that full circle moment of, okay, now I'm on this stage. And then not only that, I'm on the stage working with somebody in John Legend who, probably definitely one of my biggest musical influences and inspiration. Somebody I've been listening to since I decided, like who I like, to be on one of those shows in one of those moments where you're working with your idol, you're doing it in front of everybody, your grandma seeing it, it's just kind of perfect. It just seems like a dream. It seems like it's not quite reality, but at the same time, it is reality. So it's just validating to all the work that led up to that point.
That's what's up. And for anybody, if you haven't heard Cam sing, like his voice and John Legend's voice is very much similar. Got that rich tone.
Yeah.
I might have you sing a little piece of something if you don't mind.
Oh
Well,
man.
before we leave,
Okay.
but before we get into that, man, can you just take us behind the lens of you, so people know you from, the voice, but who is CammWess outside of that?
uh, so I think knowing me from The Voice is definitely pretty different from knowing me now in the space that I'm in now. On The Voice, I was, still really stepping in, still really learning my brand and my artistry and what all that meant to me.
Mhm.
Um, and on a show like The Voice, right, it's more so catered to your singing. So it's more about like the title says, it's more about your voice than what is the full package, what is the backstory, the brand, what makes you you and what makes you special. And you kind of have to convey all that through the vocals. You don't really get to, create the space in the world in which your artistry lives. So definitely on The Voice, I'm more just trying to win the competition, right? Like, how can I sing the best? Uh, and like knowing me now is definitely to know um, me as an artist. And I think knowing me as an artist is really just knowing me as a person because I try to keep I try to keep everything 100% real. I don't want to have to go in and out of a character necessarily. Like when you listen to a song, I wrote it. When you listen to a melody, I wrote it. And if it's makes you feel a certain way, it's because I felt a certain way. Um, and that's where I am right now. I think I'm trying to be as transparent and as honest as I can in my artistry, in my music, because I think that's the stuff that lasts the test of time. And I'm really not interested in the microwave,
Mhm.
moment. I want to build something, and we are building something, that is solid. It's on a solid foundation.
Yeah, and I can attest to that, man. Solid
Mhm.
team behind you.
Yeah.
And so as an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
me, I felt every word you were saying as far as just like being real, being authentic and just building, doesn't matter how long it takes. You just want to make sure that you have a solid foundation, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um, and that's just something that I've been experiencing the last couple of years. Like, my story, stepped out a couple of years ago to run my business full time.
Hmm.
And it's a slow process. You know, you're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows, but as long as you're consistent, you know, you keep the positive people in your ear and everything, you know, you just grow. You learn from everything and just grow. And I know you have experienced that with your career.
When you say learning from everything, literally learn from
Yes.
everything. The
Yes.
success, you have to learn just as much from the failure as you do from the success. And if you don't, then you miss out. And guess what? You have to end up learning that lesson all over again.
Right.
So it's yeah, like you said, learn from every single encounter, every single person, because a lot of people are going to teach you what not to do.
Oh yeah. Facts. But man,
Yeah.
I can't help but notice the honey butter hat back there. Tell us about honey butter.
Honey butter. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I'm glad you said that. That's my brand. That's my merch. But even than that, it goes into my story on The Voice. Later on in the season, after working with John for quite some time, he just started calling me Mr. Honey Butter, or saying my voice was like honey butter. And I'll be honest and say, when he first said it, I was like, honey butter. Why is he saying that? Honey butter. You know, I thought he was gonna say smooth or something like that. But it was so specific, you know, honey butter.
Right.
And then the fans and the people that were cheering for me on the show, they started saying honey butter, hashtag honey butter, using the honey emojis. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take this and run with it because they
Right.
like it, John likes it, and honestly, it is pretty smooth, and like definitely the word butter. I have been hearing that about my voice growing up. Like my high school principal used to always say that about my voice. Um, and so that wasn't something that was new. And so because it was something that was kind of familiar and yet kind of new to me at the same time, and everybody was embracing it, I just thought, why not turn Honey Butter or HB into a brand and have that be my company, have that be my merch, have that be the way that, you know, I explain this at my live shows all the time. When you see somebody out and about and they have on something, or they have anything that has HB on it, like y'all instantly have that connection of, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're down with Team HB. Like that's
Right.
we already know what comes with that. So it's just been really cool, man, to have something again to build, and to be able to look at people like, you know, Jay-Z and Pharrell and all these artists who have these other ventures that also serve their artistry. And I think I've always wanted to be in that space as well. And so when the opportunity presented itself, you know, to have a brand like that has such a cool story and a cool beginning, especially something that's so meaningful coming from John Legend, who is, you know, big inspiration, to have that be that story and have that be that moment, it just seemed like you had to do it. No brainer.
Right. Full circle, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about your background, upbringing. Like, how did the music find you, or how did you find the music per se?
Definitely church. Definitely church. I would say from a early age. And if I wasn't singing in church, I was singing in school, which was a Christian school, you know, so that was more church singing.
Right.
Um, so church at first, getting a good like rhythmic foundation. You know, a lot of people, and I teach as well, a lot of people don't understand the importance of developing a steady beat within a young child, so that when they do move and conquer new rhythms and maybe more complex things, it's not as scary to them because they already have a solid internal beat. Now
Right.
I'm getting into other stuff, but that was a really good foundation for me as a church kid. I think a lot of church kids go through that, where their ear, their internal rhythm, it just works at a higher level. And
Right.
so thankfully I was exposed to that at an early age. And then also my parents just love R&B. So we would go on these road trips to like run to Myrtle Beach, right, for a weekend or something. And the whole car ride is just as loud as the volume will go. Brian McKnight, John Legend, uh, you know, a bunch of Anthony Hamilton. It was like Jodeci, Tank, Tyrese. It was all good music, and it wasn't always R&B, but it was mostly R&B. And I
Right.
think church mixed with R&B, you know, it brings that out of you. How could you not be in the backseat just singing the whole time? So
Exactly.
um, that was a big part of it. Were those two things, just listening to my parents' music, as I didn't listen to a lot of what would have been my generation's music at the time, because it just wasn't what it was around me. And I didn't have an iPhone, I didn't have an iPod or anything like that. So I was listening to what my folks were listening to.
Right.
And having that foundation, I think it just music sat with me a little bit differently than it did my peers. Um, And it was just something, at first, it was more like a game. Singing along in the car was like, can I get it to sound just like this person? Can I get it to match exactly what they just did? And I thought it was cool to be able to do that. And then eventually I'm like, wait, I'm singing. So I just went deeper into it, and like, you find out you love it, and you find out that, you know, other people love it, and you get to, because music is so like collaborative, right? You get to share in these really beautiful moments with people, speaking in this language that literally everybody can understand. And something about that just made me decide, I know I wanted to do this first in my life.
That's what's up, man. And like, you brought me back when you was mentioning how, you know, just kind of matching up voices in the car. Like, my parents were the same. You know, my mama played gospel all the time. My dad soul, R&B. So like, had exposure to all of that, but just I'm a background vocals guy. I love background vocals, especially very solid. And even now today, like, if I'm listening to a song and I'm trying to sing, my key, I don't want to hear myself. I want to blend perfectly with the background when I'm singing. So it's just like, that's like a personal challenge for me. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. That's a skill, because being a choir singer myself, you can have people that can hold down a lead that cannot blend with the section, and it's an equally as important skill. And it definitely matters, man, and it's hard, harder than people would think.
Definitely matters, man. So tell us what is up with you now. What's coming? What's new?
Well, right now we are in full work mode as far as the studio is concerned, man. We're definitely honing in, and I think earlier we were talking about artistry, right?
Right.
And being yourself inside of your artistry. And so one of the main things with that is just artist development. And what I've been able to do, since I've just like been nose down in, you know, live performances and obviously the show and creating my own music, what I've been able to do now is kind of like curate what CammWess is, like what that brand is, what does it feel like to experience CammWess, right? So now that we have that, the plan is to just go single, you know, and drop these really cool modern sounding R&B tracks that, you know, we're pouring a lot of love into them, and we're going to do the same thing when it comes to marketing and making sure that they're reaching the people, and then honestly getting honest feedback. We've been able to do a couple live shows now. We did a Greek music festival down in Georgia with some of the new pieces. We just did Soul Fest, Roll Fest, here in Columbia. And getting that live feedback in real time, kind of like stealing that idea from Kanye when he was going from stadium to stadium playing stuff and then going back to the studio, seeing what people react to, seeing what rhythms they like, and then literally coming back to the studio and tweaking the music has been a real fun experience. And just being honest in music and like, what is it that I want to talk about? And I think my writing is getting better, both you know, with the words and the melodies.
Right.
And that's really, it's a nice time to be in, because I feel like the direction is really starting to clear up on where this thing's going.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for you, when it comes to writing, what typically comes first, the lyrics or the medley, excuse me, melody?
You got it. We know what you meant. So sometimes they come at the exact same time. I will say that. But what I do love, though, is to just get in a track, whether it's a track I made or a track one of my producers made, just sit with the track and then start to top line. And top lining is just literally finding out what melody I like, and I might try 50 of them. Sometimes I'll get a whole song done as far as top lining is concerned, like write out the whole melody and for the verses and the choruses and the bridge, and then erase it all and redo it. Because it's just, I feel like melody, you know, is king, just as much as rhythm is important.
Right.
And so when I find out what the song is asking for, right, what the music is asking for, and how to best serve that musically, then it kind of, the words just kind of fall into place, you know, because once it's there musically, all you have to do is kind of just translate what the music is saying.
Right.
And so that's probably my favorite process, is when I can go ahead and get the top lining out of the way and then add the words later. But sometimes it's just a phrase or or the way I hear a certain phrase said out in public. And I'm like, oh, that was so musical, or it just invokes a deeper thought process. I'll pull inspiration from anywhere, man. Anywhere.
Yeah. And see,
I
that's
always try to stay open to it.
right. That's one thing I love about just being a creative. It's just like you
Mm-hmm.
learn to appreciate everything, because I hear music in everything.
Right.
Like I can hear a random sound like the car would make or whatever, and then I got
Mm-hmm.
a beat in my head, you
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah.
And like
Anywhere.
yeah, I annoy my wife because like I hear something and I automatically turn into a song. She's like, "Can you please shut up?" I was like, "That's my head 24/7."
Yeah. I'm just giving you a glimpse. I
Yeah.
was just talking about that. The other day I was on an interview talking about my summer camps that I have coming up here.
Oh, word.
And yeah, and I have two summer camps coming up. One is for grades second through the fifth, and the other one is grade 6 on up. And I was talking about how as a kid, I was the kid in class doing the Pharrell beat or humming to myself during the test and
Mm,
getting into trouble because that stuff is just always up there. And I
right.
had to learn how to channel it and learn how to, just deal with it. And I say deal with it, that sounds bad, but it's a real positive thing because it's
Mhm.
so special, and you definitely don't take it for granted to be tapped into it because it's that's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
Everything.
I like that you said deal with it because like a lot of times, like you said, you just have to, I guess, accept it. Like you may think
Right.
maybe like something is wrong with you or something like that. No, that's a great thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that back when we were in school, they didn't really invest into like the arts and stuff like that. But now one thing
Right.
that I've noticed since the pandemic, all of these artists have blown up on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Is this is our time, man. As
Yes.
creatives,
Yeah.
this is our time.
I feel that. I was actually just talking to my mom about this, how I feel like we are really getting back to a place, and that sounds so bad to say,
Of
but I feel like we are getting back to a place of quality in music, a
Yeah.
certain standard, I'll say, um there is so much of a demand to see people do it live. We want to see you sing live. We want to see
Mhm.
you sing often, and
Mhm.
social media, we want to see you go live and sing, right? So
Right.
there's this challenge. I feel like it's more challenging now to be a studio singer, right? Or somebody that's not really offering a lot because there's so many people offering things. If you find yourself getting lost in that sauce, it's probably because you might not be offering enough. So I
Yeah.
feel like that drives up competition. And so it makes me want to be better as an artist. And I'm sure it makes everyone else want to be better too, because we get to see it. It's in our face. Like, this is how
Right.
good this person over here is killing. So you got
Exactly.
to be, and I love that. I love that because I'm a competitive person anyway. So it just inspires me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. So you recently got awarded 40 under 40. What was that? That was at the
That was at the Greek
yeah,
festival we played. Um,
congrats.
40 under 40 was with the Music Greeks Inc. Association that I'm actually partnered with now.
Right.
And they're also was putting on that Music Greek event, and they awarded me and honored me with the 40 under 40 award for having accomplished so much in my field at this age. Um, and just sticking with it. I feel like there is something to be said for just sticking with it, and it
Right.
is nice to be acknowledged for that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Congrats
yeah.
again. And
Thank you.
we coming down to the end, but I wanted to just touch on real quick artist development. You mentioned that.
Mhm.
And
Right.
something that I typically do, well, I always do, is a Tuesday tip. So this Tuesday tip, I want to dedicate it to your upcoming artists, anybody that's trying to make it in the industry. When it comes to artist development, what Tuesday tip can you share?
I'd say honestly, and this goes right back into what I was just talking about, sticking with it. Uh, the more you do anything, the better you're gonna be at it.
Mm,
And the same is definitely true with developing your artistry. Literally singing into a camera or your phone, and then watching that back and seeing, I liked this, I didn't like this, I could do that better, and then redo it. Guess
mm,
what? You just became a better artist. You made specific decisions. and you changed it, and you changed it for what you truly believe is to be is for the better. And that's what it is. That's making it clear what you believe is beautiful art, and standing on it, not compromising. That's developing your artistry, and you have to grow and learn why I like something, why I don't like something, why I might appreciate someone else doing it and maybe not love it for myself. All that is developing yourself as an artist. Why I dress the way I dress, and I think too, it should come from a place of being honest, being yourself.
So me and Cam, we've worked with each other before when you released your single Tired.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We did. And we crafted a beautiful, wonderful visual around that song. And thank you. And shout out to you for that. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. It's
that's that Vice Productions right there. Quality work.
Vice Productions and Honey Butter collide.
Exactly.
That's what's up, man. It was definitely a fun experience for me. Just working with the team and just creating something beautiful. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you go to CammWess's YouTube channel. You'll see it, Tired. Make sure you stream it on all music platforms. And what was the highlight of just creating that video for you?
The highlight, man, I mean, I feel like I always say this, but working with my family and working with a team of people around me that everybody's just so invested in. I don't know. I feel like there's nothing better than being able to be at peace no matter where you are. And when you can work in an environment where you just know everybody's working towards the same goal. And even though I'm not saying the whole thing, the process is peaceful, because it can get hectic and stressful like anything else. But when you love it and you're working in an environment where everybody else loves it too and is dedicated to the craft and dedicated to something beautiful at the end, that is such a good feeling. Because I've definitely, I've felt what it's like to work with people who were struggling to work as a unit, but working together as a unit and then accomplishing it, not just working towards it, but then accomplishing it, getting the job done and done in a spectacular fashion, man. That's special.
Oh yeah, special. Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it earlier. If you don't mind, just give us a piece of something.
A piece of something. I feel like I was thinking about singing something else, but then we started talking about Tired, so now I feel like you kind of got to sing Tired a little bit.
Hey, that's fine.
Let's do. I put on my brave face, as I walk through the city. I don't want them to know how I'm feeling now. Wish I was back home, and I wish you were with me. But the pictures in my phone keep you hanging around. Yeah, and I'm so tired. Baby, I'm so tired of pretending that I don't need you now. I don't need you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it. Go stream it. Go listen to it, man. You got to go stream it, listen to it, and then go back and watch the video because we killed that.
Definitely. Shout out to Vance, Jesse. Who else we got?
Everybody. Man, Blue did a phenomenal job. Shout out to Celebrity. Yeah. Everybody on that project. My granddad, who made a studded appearance in the film. We're gonna call it a film.
He killed it.
Yeah, everybody. He killed it too, man.
Yeah.
Like a professional. Denzel. Yeah, should have put it as Denzel in the credits, because that's how. Yeah, he was up there.
He asked you for his check yet?
He hasn't yet. I go every time I go over, I just pat my pockets. I'm like, I got it. It's on the way.
It's coming. It's coming.
The way. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you for stopping by. We appreciate the time. Any last words? Anything you want to say? Tell the viewers, listeners, how they can contact with you, keep up with you.
Definitely. I'm on everything as CammWess. WESS. You can follow me, friend me, TikTok me, all that good stuff. And I'm there wherever you are. Wherever you listen to music, I'm there as well. Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, everywhere. And I appreciate every ounce of support. Thank y'all.
Awesome. And West Wednesdays, don't forget to tune in every Wednesday, 9 p.m.
Yeah, around 9 p.m. Yes, sir. We took a little sabbatical, but we're definitely getting back to it. So definitely tune in West Wednesdays.
Good stuff. All right, everybody. This is your boy, your host, Zoe. You're tuned into Behind the Lens radio show. When we come back, we're bringing it to a close.